Status. So last week, we saw, I think the admin panel last week, admin changes. The admin changes is not here.
And the new admin UI.
And there are things that are not pleasant with that.
Yeah, the way how to list the content items, yeah, and the views.
Well, okay, so I think everyone has to say something about it. So we'll have to do something about that because I had some things. So yesterday I worked with Antoine and I was like, what is that? And I click on the thing and no, it doesn't do anything, it's just UI. And I was confused. And also I like, okay, I need to edit this thing. How do I edit the content item? And he told me, it told me, you click on the icon. All right. What icon? Like, there are two icons. I don't even know which icon is doing what. So yeah, not the best changes inside. I didn't notice all this thing. And actually, I think there are some things we said we should not take and revisit. And there are too many things in this PR. Then Dean next week with a new site, and Dean has a new site, but I'm not sure they work. It's funny. We'll see that. It's funny. It's not funny. So topics, status, demos. Cornwall, is that how it's spelled? I'm sure I'm wrong.
I think that is how it's Cornwall with an O.
No. It is?
Like that.
Just because corn and wool, why corn? Okay. Dean, else has demos. Antoine. Antoine. Then, who else? Jasmine, you must have done something, right? I saw so many commits, so many issues, comments, so many things.
I'm working on top of other people PR, so I have nothing to really demo. It's just like simple fixes on the admin UI.
Okay. Cool. And I don't have anything. Not yet to show. I could, but I don't like it, so it will wait. And then topics, anything special? Did I miss anything? Okay. Status, Orchard 1. We merged some things. Well, we approved some PRs from Matteo. So 22nd was the 15th, so 15, 17 here. Fix HQL sort factory. So the idea is that now you can, there's a new property on the factory, ascending, descending, and you can pass custom orders or selectors. And Antoine doesn't have a microphone, so whatever I say, I hear. So that has been merged. OrchardCore. What are I doing here? There, 2, 15. This one, search filters. search filters. Why is that this view now? I'm confused. I didn't change anything.
I changed the button that was displayed because I kept the filter thing that was before the search input, and what he did there is change it by an icon and make it like more simple. He changed the design basically.
Okay,
and I fixed some things that was not working from my previous pull request because I averaged too quick.
Let's change it. So filter. Why so many? Oh, filter, all the filters. Post, interesting.
Yeah, I had this to retain the history when you're doing a search and you're doing back navigation. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. So this is better.
I like it. Is it better? It's subjective.
Add JQuery-ui dependency. I didn't notice. Okay. It has been removed from the main layout, so now it has to be added every time it's necessary. Fix a new collapse icon. Okay. Make default media file store methods virtual. If you want to reuse it, update dependency and post CSS. Okay. jsplumb. Permalink, external link. Tags helpers, and then link to display the published content item on the auto output IC. So now there is a permalink, and there was an issue for that, so that's the one you're fixing. I think Zoltan filed it. Login title. So why this change? How is that better?
Makes kind of a large title, but yeah.
It's kind of opinionated because I'm like, before it was not whole. And now we inject the name of the site on the login, which I will assume is kind of front end. And it's opinionated in the way that now we display the site name on the front end, before we didn't. And we made a choice to say, oh, we need to display the site name on the front end. But what if it doesn't matter? Which in this case is fine, but what if this is not adapted for this view? Login to blog.
Yeah, maybe it's easier to open up multiple tenants login view and distinct which one you're in while you're developing. But yeah, normally you're going to change this view, I think, for your website on the front end. So
if you want to change it to make it your own, then and you want to show that, but log into your that. Well, it was already displayed. Now it's translated, which is better. This is better because it's the same as before, but translated and displaying what provider you want to use, because you might have many. Makes sense. But displaying the site name, I don't find it very useful. I'm worried that this change has more issues than solves issues. So, but was there an issue behind that? Or just Antoine said, let's change it. I think I mentioned that to Isham, but not on the OrchardCore repository. Where did I mention that? Yes, it was on the OrchardCore repository last week. He made a change to make the CultureDictionary IEnumerable. And at first I was like, okay, so someone needs that to enumerate the CultureDictionary. And so I said, where do you need it? Like, because it's a library that can be used somewhere else. Like it's a Nuget package, and any ASP.NET app can use it just independently. And I assume someone needs that. And I asked what was the goal of that change. Well, what would be the reason for that? And I didn't disagree with adding that. And he said, oh, I don't know. I thought maybe someone might want to be able to do that. And I said, well, instead of adding features that we think might be useful, let's try to find first some reason to have it. Otherwise, we are just adding more code to maintain, more code that can break later, because now if someone now depends on it somehow, and I don't know, we can't change it anymore. So it has to be IEnumerable for life. Or maybe we'll just add some more bugs to fix later. And if there is no reason to pay this price, this potential price, why would you pay that? Like, why make the change if there is no reason? So it's very not.
I think I said this week to Isham, don't fix what ain't broken.
Yeah, that's the same auto, but yeah, that's it's like, if you see, okay, so that's a fix is that. So there was a discussion. There was no discussion. So it's just Antoine decided that it was an issue for you, and he decided to do it, but it was not realized, it was not talked about. So that's purely one individual who prefers to see their side name there, and I'm afraid that some people might not like it. Maybe everyone will like it. Personally, I prefer the opposite way. So it's 1 + 1 for you, -1 for me. We haven't heard from anyone else. It's not obvious to me that it's better, because maybe some people prefer to make it like neutral, because maybe the name they use that doesn't make any sense here in this case. The same way maybe they decided to remove the site name from their title, because they can change that in the meta tags, because they can do that. But they can't remove that anymore now. Well, they have to create a custom one to remove it, instead of creating a custom one to customize it. That's my concern.
It's less common to see this also.
I don't know, maybe it's right. I'm just saying that's the opinion of one versus one, and I'd like to hear.
My general preference with a lot of these changes is that Orchard provides a nice, good base for building a site with. So the less customizations that we do at an Orchard level, while we allow people to customize their own sites, the better, as a general rule, or a general, my general take on customizations.
When I say that, as long as we all agree that it's better this way, then we'll go with that. But I'm afraid of the opinions of one versus majority now. Unless that one is me, right? If I talk a lot. So, okay. I give opinion, I ask people. So if you say, if you disagree, you can say that you disagree or you agree. You have to be careful. Okay, so whoever wants to decide that it's not good, just create a PR and merge it. It was approved though, so yeah. So 2 versus 1. This is so changing the external login is better actually because it was not translated. And you need to display the name of the external login. You can't say, oh, login and login. Have 4 buttons called login if you don't use the name here. That totally makes sense. And the title wasn't translated. So this is good. It's not bad per se. It's the risk that it becomes bad for some people. Whereas before there was no decision. So it's like login to this site. And sorry, Jasmine, but when you're on the site and you're on the login page, I hope you know that you're on the site, the login page of the site. And if you have 4 different tenants open in your tabs, then you have to by yourself change and customize it, because if you think that's an issue, that's your issue. Otherwise, it's super nice, super clean, I like it. Okay, a lot of talk for a small change. Webpack 5 in GraphQL. I hope it's not breaking anything. These changes also are controversial. I like the fact that we keep up to date with everything, because the risk that if we don't keep up to date with the new versions, and let's say, oh, in 1 year, let's update everything will be broken. And we'll have to fix everything at the same time, or just say, okay, we can't take that because it's breaking everything. Too many changes at the same time, or it's not compatible anymore, we don't follow that. And it's like someone who's not updating Orchard for 5 years. Jumping on the next version is very hard. The issue on the other side is that, oh, let's bump major version from 16 to 17. I mean, I hope that the dependency graph is fine, and you know that's also a big change for literally for us nothing, right? It might fix some issues, but nobody has 5 issues related to that. So it's also, this one is just an example, but this is risky somehow.
Yeah.
So maybe
in that case, I had to revert it later.
Okay, that's okay. You see, that's the issue.
Mm-hmm.
We take that's so as long as we find the bugs, but again, is it worth the risk to update to better version without knowing what's the change? Remember when I said, okay, this is this version, but what does it add? Is it fixing bugs? Do we have these bugs? Is there any reason for us to do that? Is it better for our customers? If it's just for the backend, do we care? It's just for us, so that's the issue. Okay, so you say you reverted it, but let's say, I mean, UI makes such input always 50% of width from the base device. 50% of width for mobile devices. It looks weird. Why would you do something in percent when it's small? Because if it gets even smaller, it will. Why don't we at some point say, now, okay, at that point it's 100%. Oh, 50%. Okay.
Oh,
yeah,
it's 50% of the page.
So before LG means large, for large screens, which is not the biggest one.
Yeah, the minimum is 25%, so it's always 25%.
Oh,
and when you hit the small size breakpoint, then it widens to 50%. So
What does
yeah,
the width width? This is the width. Then large 50.
the breakpoint and then the percentage.
25. But if you say SM50, what's the point of doing W25?
For everything under, because you have
Is there something under SM?
Yeah.
Extra small?
Yeah, it's extra small XS, and under that there's nothing, but there's also under that. So
okay, so question then. If when it's small, it's 50%, why is it 25, which is a quarter, if it's the screen is even smaller?
because the button is right on the same line. So yeah, just like that.
So imagine.
So instead of having the button wrap under, then it just well, I tried and it kind of.
Yeah, I without even looking at what you changed.
Yeah.
I mean, imagine this is large. There will be something inside that will take 50%.
Just like the title, which is the title, login screen, and the buttons are on the same line there.
So, but it takes 50%. Then if I go small, it will take still 50%. Okay. But if I take something even smaller, then the thing will take. Okay, so what you say is that we reduce that thing so that it doesn't take all the space in this case. I see what you mean. That's just, okay, maybe that makes sense. So the goal is that it doesn't take that much space when it's too small, because the rest, which is on the line, should have more space. That's weird.
Yeah, because the button doesn't change sizes. This is
okay. Yeah. I will have set the value on the other thing that has to keep kept. In this case, okay.
We could do like GitHub and make the button wrap under or over, but it looks really weird. It feels like you could push that button to do a search and it doesn't work. You need to have them separated from each side.
I'm also kind of stupid because I could just open that. Search input. Admin badge. This is an issue. I don't think it's. Oh no, this was the same thing. I think this is wrong here. This should be translated at least. If it's not supposed to be setting stereotypes, it should be translated. It was not before, so it's what was supposed to be fixed, but I thought so that fixes all allow ShapeMetadata access in Liquid. ShapeMetadata safe.
The issue is this one that there is actually trying to get to child content, which is IHTML content. So the liquid filter wouldn't render it. Me and JT looked at it, could change, because he was overriding, I think, a form wrapper template, which has metadata.content in it.
Okay, filters. Search, where should I go, Jasper?
Just go on the content items list. Yeah. And press F12 to open up the developer. Or you could do that too.
So this is the search bar?
Yeah, and it's always 50% that way, and you can go.
So here at 50%, and I
Yeah.
can't go smaller. Who's blocking me from going smaller? Is it Edge or?
Yeah, it's Chrome that or Edge. It's Chromium. It doesn't allow you to go underneath that size. This is why I said press F12 to open up the mobile. Yeah, this way you can see
50%.
I think it was maybe widget list. There's one that is really that has a long title for deployment plans. Yeah.
Where are they?
It's configuration. Last item. Import export. Deployment plans. Yeah.
And then you say I can use. Where are the sizes?
Second button. Yeah. Here you have your 25%. It's still usable, but yeah, because the button is so large.
Your device animation. How do I select which
responsive? Yeah,
okay. This is what
I normally pick up.
Wow!
iPhone.
Wow! Yeah. It's even faster actually than the.
Yeah.
Okay, so what you say is that when we are at that point.
Yeah. We should have maybe now a minimum size for the input, but yeah.
So question, how I would see that is, for me there are two zones. There is the actions and there is a filter. And on this one, the actions, everything is right justified. And it has the size it has. And this one should just adapt. So okay, it's 50%, but I would say it could be 50% max on large, but it could take the full space here, the full left space. And then at some point when the button takes all the line, then it's should go again the full line. And
okay, then we need to use a flex box for doing this.
Okay.
Yeah, flex field.
See what I mean? I don't know if it's durable or not, but that's how I feel it should be.
Yeah, I kept using the Bootstrap grids because they are a sample, but we can fine tune things with the flex boxes.
Okay. So how does it look like with a phone? Like this, you see, that's typical. Okay, so this maybe should be on 2 lines. Maybe easier to manage that by saying SM equals 2 lines done. This 100%, and then it might be easier actually to just say search equals 100% done. And this one will have to go down. Okay. It's easier to see than to repeat.
Well, it works, but yeah, there's fine tunings. Yeah.
Okay.
I agree.
Application and super user. Application as a super user theme also for pure MVC user. Application as a super user theme also for pure MVC use. Okay, so the application, so the CS proj, because a super theme. Pure MVC use. Okay, it's related to module dependency and priorities and the application, how it behaves compared to every other module. 4.3. Okay. customer page. Okay, makes sense. The view is not taken correctly from the CS proj. We fixed it. That's good. Media text, check if index exists. Media field, media text.
Because on an older site, before we added the media text, the array would be empty because it didn't exist. So you would throw an exception if you try to access it.
I see that picture. I'm
Gets
looking at
updated.
the syntax. The syntax is weird. I'm sure there is a C#9 feature that will make it so element at or default. Yeah, because you can't access it directly with the indexer. Yeah. Personally, I would have, I'm not sure it's best, but my mental reflex would have been to test the length of that. If I is not greater than the length, then access that. Otherwise, that. But in this case, it's also checking the nullability. It's empty. Okay, that works. Whatever. Update placement. UI. So update placement UI 7877.
Yeah, I did that change. It was just to update so that it looks the same as the other modules.
Okay. So this landed. So it's about, so how do I remove that? Good. So if I go to content types.
It's under design, if it's enabled.
Design. Oh, this new feature.
Yeah.
If that's enable, features and placement. Is that the one? Enable.
We should probably turn that on in some of the recipes actually by default now. We didn't do that.
And then it's placements. I've never played with that.
And you can access it from the parts or content types.
Yeah, that's why I wanted to go to the types.
So, yeah.
Placement rules. What it needs is a link to the doc. Because someone who goes there doesn't have any issue, any idea about it.
Yeah, but if you go into the one content type or part definition, yeah. If you go into one part or field, if you take edit on a field or a part, yeah.
I'm wondering what it does. I can move the full thing. Okay. Placement. Placement for subtitle field in the blog post. The next improvement is to actually provide the form for these things, to formalize all the properties with a custom form instead of a JSON. But that's good already, that you can access that from the admin. And the change is not breaking, so that's good. So we can later on provide a nice form for that. Something I find too much is the repetition here, the placement for the subtitle field. I think the full placement for the subtitle field, because I'm already editing subtitle field. It's like I said, include this element in the index for the subtitle field. Or if I repeat subtitle field for every form, I'm in the subtitle field. So that's, I think that's not necessary. And you see edit placements, same thing, placement. So maybe it would be easier to read to just show blog post detail views, blog post summary views, blog post editor, or blog post all views. See, that might be simpler to read. There's a lot of text. I'm old and maybe some other people have difficulties reading too much text like this. So just nitpicking. Okay, that's good. And what you fixed is, what did you fix compared to that? Oh, the same, because it wasn't.
Yeah,
oh,
yes,
this button.
It used the old. I think this was merged when the admin UI was updated. So it was an old UI that didn't look the same as the other modules. And added the search.
Everything looks good. Okay, cool. Thank you. And also thanks, Thierry, for this feature. Remove mde.js. What is that already? I don't remember. An editor? What kind of editor? Markdown?
Yeah, it's the Markdown editor, which compiled inside.
Okay.
Yeah. It's not necessary.
TheTheme. Yeah, this one, the CultureDictionary IEnumerable. Automatic Nuget title description for abstractions. We met the PR with all the descriptions for all the modules. Mirage. This one, and using some small screen. Fixes package empty tag. Admin title. Tenants UI. Links documentation. That I can't disagree with. Okay. Liquid part edit. Do we have liquid part here? Content parts. But I see it in the settings, so if I do content types, liquid. What did I just do? Oh, it's content or Content definition, content types, liquid. So it used to be, I see, so this definitely needs to be translated, even though it would be the same word for most languages. But it's liquid, check. Yeah, that's good. Personally, I prefer the tag like it was before. I like the title, but I prefer the tag before. Here, I don't know what it is. It's a link. There is an icon, but it doesn't say anything to me. It's a generic icon. So the tag was good. Liquid. See, like these things. At first, when I saw that yesterday, I was like, I click that. Nope. You have to click on options, and then you see the same thing. But if you click, it doesn't remove. You have to save. So I think it's useless. It's just add more complexity on the UI. It takes my mind to that, where I should not care at all. I should just look at that. It's UI redundancy that I don't see any value to that. It's nice. It looks, it's in French, Antoine was saying, it's mignon. It's cute, but it doesn't add anything. It just adds noise to the UI.
Maybe the icons could be added on each items there, where there's a checkbox to make them
maybe if you want to use icons, but I mean, there's a word that explains what it is. I think you have to use icons when the icon is shorter than the text, and you just want the icon, and it's meaningful, and you know you can click it. Here, it's the same as the icon. So on the content items, maybe it's see here. It used to be published, had a custom one, and draft had a custom icon. Maybe it's still the case, but I made these tags with these icons, and I'm not sure it's good to have these icons there because do they add anything? Here there is a text at the second, and this is the only information I have. Here, it's weird. In this UI, it's a configuration UI, so it's weird to show that there. It confused me. When I wasn't aware of that, I opened the window, and I was confused. So it's more information that confused me, where more information is supposed to unconfuse you. So here I was confused. So I think it's a bad UI because I was confused. And if anyone says I'm confused by something, that's a bad UI. The same way, if anyone says they can't go in the admin screen because their CDN doesn't work and we use CDN by default, that's bad. We should fix it for everyone. Which is not topic. But here, okay, so here what I wanted to check was, why did I do that?
Is the drop-down button there for indexing and options new as well? That's I find that very odd.
Same thing.
Like that just used to show everything that you could do to a
I don't remember. I don't remember doing this, but maybe. I think it was showing the full text, and it's been added. Yeah, the button has been added because I don't remember doing this.
Is it a good UI pattern to have a?
Not like that. That's buttons for actions.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
I mean, expand and collapse is not necessarily a bad thing if you want to shrink it, but that's not the way to do it.
So in this case, I would suggest
you're right.
Instead of having buttons expand collapse, why expand collapse? We don't need to see the two at the same time. We can have a tabs here, like if we want to make the UI lighter, like type metadata, or have this one in the first tab and then have a indexing tab or tabs maybe.
Yeah, maybe tabs. I don't think it's a great thing to hide things from the UI because people don't see them, and you need to give them all the stuff that they can do, like just right there. Like people don't even realize that they can edit to get to the settings most of the time.
And as we said before, we might not want to do too much work on this UI because when we want to improve this UI, we'll change this UI. We'll do a different one, which is more dynamic. So we can manage the types and their settings and their parts with a drag and drop way much better than what we have today. So not sure it's worth trying to fix that when the fix is something new. So buttons, add edit templates. Okay, drop down, edit templates. Yeah, and this button was not at the bottom, right? It was at the top. Here it looks like it's 4 parts. It has nothing to do with. Is it? Where am I? I'm on the top, right? Yeah, yeah, that's weird. This button was not there before. It was at the top. Here it looks like it's with parts. No, it's a template for the type. So why did I go to this thing? Oh, Liquid, to see the documentation. So I need to create a new Liquid page. Here. If I click, it opens a different tab. Good. Yeah, another icon. Yeah, I don't think it's necessary either. Same thing.
Your screen's too small to even see what it is, to be honest. But
Also, it's like, yeah, you have to edit a key, a keyboard key, right? Yeah, so it's not obvious what value it adds here. Okay, so documentations link, edit template button stick to the top while scrolling. Edit template button.
reverted.
Reference. Order. InputIsDisabledTagHelpe. InputIsDisabledTagHelpe. What is this TagHelpe? Input is disabled. Input TagHelpe. Input. What is this TagHelpe? Confused.
It's a little tag helper that we have somewhere that we don't use much, where you can add a disabled attribute to an input box. And it was just firing first because when this guy was using it in Liquid, because it inherited from the input tag helper and
That's weird.
capturing stuff.
That's weird.
I think it was just something that they added, must have been some time ago, as a little helper to get nice disabled attributes easily.
Easily.
And it causes problems instead.
How hard is it to add disabled attribute to an input?
Well, exactly.
And you need a component that will have bugs, and you need to maintain and fix and take the time at the meetings to look at. Interesting. Net SDK 5.1.1. Admin badges. My badges. Well, my badges. My alerts. Or what are they called? I don't know. Badges everywhere. Remove command. Okay, revert. Fix by reverting. Content localization documentation. Okay. Business libraries documentation. Draft shop preview button. Content button actions, what I mean. Contents button edit summary.
Yeah, there's a permission there that you removed. Maybe it's worth checking.
Okay. That icon is something I understand because I'm an Android user, so I understand that it's extraneous actions. I can click on that. That the issue is that yes, well, the icons are kind of meaningful, but I have to think. That's my concern. Edit and view. So where is the preview? Oh, it's when I edit something.
You need to have a draft.
I need to have a draft. So so this editor is very not dark mode friendly. This is a new icon to view the item. Good. Save draft. And now I have the blue one and the green one. Okay, so preview draft. And if I click, it opens a new window. It's preview draft. Okay, how is that ready to? It's not ready to preview. It's the draft. Okay. But the permission is called preview. Are we sure about that? Are we sure that has preview permission? Or maybe it's the name of the variable, which is wrong.
It was
Preview.
In the action menu. I just moved it.
Yeah.
Like this. Mm-hmm.
Are we still sure? We need to check that the preview content has nothing to do with the preview feature, but the draft.
Good question.
So maybe it's wrong. Okay, and then, so where was it before? Before it was in the actions, and now it's in this.
Yeah, it's the has draft that I think doesn't work right because you could want to preview something that has been published. It's not really a preview, but you want to see it live on the website. So it's not preview, but view.
It's draft. Yeah, it's a draft.
Yeah,
yeah, that's why. Preview draft. Or view draft. Okay. View draft. Maybe view publish action, view draft. Okay. And we have a preview here. Beautiful. Love it. It's still working. At the end, make new content item button scrollable. Oh, so we can scroll that now. Remove CI integration test. Oh, now we are back to new version. Okay. Pin, why did you remove that? Don't like them?
Well, they're not running. You don't seem to like them. The functional tests are supposed to take them over, so I'll drop them. I keep the code base is still in the code to run them if you're using them locally is still there.
You can update the version.
You can update the version.
To make Antoine happy. Align strap ShapeMetadata to make the right side. Too long didn't read. True auto. Okay. Don't display this header if there are no content found. List headers. Placement. Okay. Add new module for option. Oh, the new module has shipped. Interesting. It would be nice to have a demo someday about this one. Thank you, Joshua. Fix admin template search. Admin template search. Oh, the filter at the top. Okay. Use CultureAspect in Lucene. Oh. Honestly, I don't want to look into it because I'm not like I trust you guys who've worked on that so long. That's the reasons why I don't want to see things like this. Right, was there already? What is that? What does any mean? Settings culture equals any. Oh, this is for index. Okay, why ini? That's weird.
So he has he has a parameter there that can say here when I'm populating the aspect has a culture to say that it's never going to be null. This way we can also have in other places where we use the populate aspect a null value that is returned because the as culture is set to false.
Okay, and we could not use the invariant one.
Yeah.
Yes, we could not.
No, we could not.
So sad.
It's for the indexing in Lucene, so we can't really index as invariant.
Oh.
It's either something or nothing.
Yeah, but invariant might say nothing. It's like null for a string. We can use invariant to say there is no culture. Or yes, there is a culture. Define the as culture. See, that's why.
Yeah, it could be done that way. It's different, but does the same at the end. In the end, but yeah, I understand.
Yes, that's why I'm saying that's the same, because that's the same. So why add something else if it can already do the same? Okay. Check if user is authenticating is external identity provider. Okay. Else. IIX++. TheTheme data. Oh. UI Semantics datetime. Wow. So we have metadata. Oh, something I saw. Where was that? Where was that? I saw a demo of the new thing in Ruby on Rails, the wire stuff. And how they display the date is, you know, like we have 2 days ago, 2 hours ago, something like that. And we talked about it last week. But I don't like to see the full date. I prefer to see like 5 days ago. What they do also is, if it's today, they show the time. Okay? So instead of saying 3 hours ago, they show the time, which is interesting because during the day, you know what time it is. That might be easier too. But maybe also as easy to understand when it was done and more precise. So for support, local regulate result. Okay. Let's have a bug with that. It's interesting. And mkdocs matter. Okay, good. Lots of discussions. Nothing can go wrong by talking about things. Then demos. Who starts? We have Dean and we have Antoine. Antoine because it's a demo. And Dean, it's an announcement.
Yeah, sorry. I struggled to connect at the beginning. Maybe I have a bad connection, but I can try to do the demo. Okay, the demo will be about first little one about a PR, a pending PR, to re-add the text and the buttons. So currently there are only the icons, and if we merge this PR, the text will be back.
Yeah, can I add something, Antoine? We made these buttons to be configurable from CSS. So if you want to remove the text, you can. And if you want to have a button like it was before, then you can do by using CSS overrides.
Yes.
When I saw these links, I was wondering, should these be buttons? Should these be links? They have always been buttons, and I liked it, but they are button links. They are links that are configured as buttons. to look like buttons. And I'm wondering if it's better to have a link in this case that look like a link than to look like a button.
It's the same in the end. It's just a component. If you use an anchor or a button, it does the same for the UI.
Yeah, but as a user, when I see something in the UI, is it simpler to understand what happens, or that I can click if it's a button, or if it looks like a text as a link? But here, there's nothing that tells me it's a link. Okay, there is no common representation of a link in Orchard. You don't know that it's a link because it's blue, it's underscore, and there is a background of green. We don't have any. There is no cohesion there. It's not consistent. So it's hard to know that it's a link because there is no such thing as it's a link in the UI verbs in Orchard. That's why and the button, on the contrary, everyone sees and understands that these buttons, they do things. So that's why I like buttons, because there is no ambiguity. Maybe it's wrong, but
I see your point. I agree. And at the same time, maybe making this configurable, then people can decide for themselves.
yeah, they want.
They
will do with whatever is there. Like when I use Word, I don't ask, can I change my titles in uppercase or lowercase? They are like you could do in Visual Studio. I mean, I take what it is and I like it or I don't like it, and I expect people to make the good judgment for me.
Okay.
So
at the same time, GitHub use these kinds of things. If you look at their list of content items, they use a lot of icons, but
my personal preference is to have buttons because I know I can click on them.
Yeah.
And I don't have any microsecond that is lost thinking, can I click or can I not click on that? When I see this right now, I don't know what I can do with that. I might want to try to hover it and to click it.
Yeah,
but it's not obvious.
Look what Antoine is doing, just adding the VTN primary.
Personally, I prefer when they look like buttons. That's my personal, and that's why I'm asking, am I wrong? Because maybe they should be icons. That looks nice as button. I also think like it's balanced, it's getting a good balance on the UI. It's less lightweight, less white, and it's.
The default could be that, and
I like
it's
it.
configurable.
I
mean, it's still configurable for anyone, for everyone.
So edit, view, these are actions. So I like also the verbs, okay? Edit, view, actions. I can understand maybe a drop-down would be better in the drop-down icon instead of or just keep the 3 dots or remove the button. That's weird because it's not an action. What does localizations do? It's a button, but it's not a button.
Oh, it's not. It should have something.
Okay, so you see that
drop down. Yeah.
So verb is an action in the link. Good. Otherwise, put a drop down so I know that it's not an action. Same thing for actions, or something that shows that it will drop down. Yeah, actions and localization.
Yeah, the 3 little dots end up looking weird with the text beside them.
Yes,
that way.
The 3 little dots is either the 3 little dots exactly like it was before, without button, just the thing, and without the text. It talks to me. It's easy because I don't know who has an iPhone and understand, because I have an Android phone, and I know that this icon, the 3 dots, means more options, and I can click on that. Okay, so if it's just the icon, I'm fine with that. Otherwise, it's a text and a drop down and a button, actions like it was before.
Yeah, I'm on the iPhone, but I recognize the 3 dots from DevOps, and I'm all right with that. I understand it easily enough.
And localization is a list, so that makes sense to have a drop down and not. We can have an icon still on the left, but we need the drop down on the right with the arrow, like the actions now.
Okay.
And I believe that if you have the arrow and the globe, maybe you can drop the localization word. If again, just brainstorming, if we don't have to talk now, you can provide different, yeah, because that's fine. As long as I see there is a drop down, I'm not afraid of clicking because I know it's a drop down. I know there is something after that I can see. So
I would keep these elements in the UI, but just hide them with CSS to just have it. But yeah.
Okay.
Because everyone will have their preference.
Yes and no. Everyone has their preference, but again, first, I won't pay the price to change it because I have preferences. So what you say is that keep the text in case someone wants to customize it and wants to pay the price for it. And that I could agree. Saying that everyone has their preferences, I mean, yes, everyone has their preferences, but again, I don't change the text of the file menu in Word. I don't even want to be able to do that, even if I prefer it to be written in uppercase. I mean, that's
the important, or one of the important things for me, because I had a few sites where we extend this list. We don't restyle it, we just stick extractions in, is that we still have some buttons with text because we have a lot of other buttons that need text, and without it all just starts talking about weird.
okay. So like this, I'm fine. The 3 dots and the drop down is that ideal, but I can, like 3 dots will be sufficient. But yeah, let's not take too much time on that. People have other things to do. But I like to feedback on that. That looks good. And that I don't know.
Okay. And the second
good brainstorming at least. Okay, so demo.
The second one is about dashboard widgets. So yesterday we worked with Sebastian to advance to progress on this PR. So what can we do? If we go to content type, we define the...
I disagree, Antoine. You are looking at the technical details. You should start with what can you do instead of how do you do that.
Add some new widgets to the dashboard. The dashboard, you can open it there, in the menu, and you can add a new widget. You will be redirected to a new content. So this is HTML. So you have. So I can take an example. Okay, so you have a new widget. Fireworks outside, I don't know why. Okay.
It's really nice, right? It's the same as before, but now you can add widgets.
Yeah.
And you can change it.
You can edit them. So this one, for example, I added some anchors to other pages. Okay, and now how it works. we defined an HTML dashboard widget that has a dashboard widget stereotype and that has a dashboard part, and thanks to this it will be listed here, and each new content items that has a dashboard part will be listed on this page. So then we will try to make it drag and droppable. We will be able to move the widget and change their positions in the page. And that's about it.
So here there might be some discussion about how the editing story should look like. So first, you see editing each widget is a content type editor, so that's good. There is no code involved for that. It can be any content type, but you see these edit buttons. Maybe you don't want to see them all the time. So maybe we'll have a global edit button that you switch to an edit mode where you can start clicking on the edit button and also move the things around. And this edit dashboard will be driven by a permission, like can I edit the dashboard? And maybe another permission which will be can I view the dashboard? So that should not be complex to do. Ideally, there should be like a WYSIWYG. When you edit, go in edit mode, then you can start drag and dropping them to move them, to resize them, as long as we are part of a grid. That would be nice to have. Much simpler than the flow part editor. At the same time, we can do everything here. That's nice. Types can be created dynamically because they are just content types. You can have your custom parts, like you want a charts part, you can have it. The display type that was used here is detail admin. At first we use summary admin, but summary admin is for list, so it didn't work. Then we use detail admin. The only issue that might happen is that if you have a list, it will look like the list editor. So that would be interesting to add a blog here. To add something that has a list to see how it looks like, but that might still work to be able to edit a list of items directly there. What else? These are cards. Can you resize the screen? Did you handle that? And now? Wow. So it adapts to the screen size. I like it. I don't know what you did, but yesterday we had issues with that.
Between large and medium, it switches from call 4 to call 3. Then if it's below, it will be displayed vertically.
We're also looking to using a custom shape display type actually, but I don't think it's worth it. We have detail admin and that works well for these kind of widgets. Because of a stereotype, you are just focalizing on detail admin for this kind of stereotype. So it's good, I think. I like it. It's nice. And these ones, they are just example because it's fresh, so they are just like content, raw content-based HTML and Markdown and stuff like that. But imagine when people start making good dashboard widgets with their module, that would be super nice. Like the tenants module could just list the tenants. The content module will list the latest content items like you have done here.
I don't exactly know how we will be able to add a permission to display a widget. And
it's not for the widget itself, but the content itself will be hidden, I think. And for the widgets, you can also, because it's a content item. So when we display the content item, we can have a handler that might check the permission for this type. And if you don't see it, it will just not show it. So in the loop where you render the widget, you can say you can check the authorization for the content item. Can the current user view this content item? And then that will work. You will be able to define custom permissions for the tenants widget type and say, no, people can't see it, or use a custom permission for it. So that's still doable. That can be done later.
Sebastian was also talking about potentially a UI where you can drag and drop some widget, like a Google dashboard.
So far, the add widget will be sufficient for adding a widget. It will be added at the end. Then drag and dropping will work as is right now. Just that's very obvious, but the edit mode might show more things. And also the add widget might also be only seen in the edit mode. So when you click on edit somewhere on this page, you'll be able to see that. Or maybe it's a different page. Maybe it's in the menu, there is a edit dashboard link where that goes to a different page that lets us edit the dashboard. It's not directly on this page. So this page just displays, and then there is an edit dashboard that will just have the edit mode where we can drag and drop. I don't know. If we don't want to have an edit button somewhere here to be discussed. And the edit button will just go to the other page. Okay. Well, questions, comments?
No, it looks good. What happens when you put something like a flow part or a bag part on one of these things? That would be interesting to see, because somebody will do it.
Yeah, that's the same question with the list part, whatever. Yeah. At the same time, it's detail admin. So whatever displays in detail admin mode for this part will display. So that should work actually, but you will have to provide a custom. But it might fail because if there is no, so far right now for the flow part, it will be empty because there is no detail admin shape, which means it will just show the default content. And
so you just need to place it in detail, place the normal shape in detail admin.
And also if you want to define a custom shape template for that.
Yeah, or a custom shape template, but placement should put it into detail admin without too much hassle.
Right.
Cool.
Yeah, so exactly what you said. We had to modify some parts to add the detail admin placement. And maybe we'll have to do it for every part to decide, should it be displayed in a widget? What happens when it's displayed in a widget? But that's the default mode for the widgets, for the dashboard, until we find there is an issue. And we have to go with a custom display. But I hope we don't have to. Super neat, super nice. Good, thank you. Dean.
Quick demo. So have a new site out and about in Cornwall. Despite being from New Zealand, I currently live in Cornwall. So this is the Cornish Mining World Heritage Site. Cornwall obviously is quite well known for its mining heritage. And they have a World Heritage Site here with 10 unique areas. So we put this together a little while ago and just got it out last week. So here's the homepage. These are all the unique areas that you can come and visit. There are quite a lot of features on this site. We do a membership section for it as well, so you can sign up and join, which gives you access to extra content. The site itself is very heavy on media. There is just they've just got so many photos and so many banners. And somebody's won the competition for the banner. I have to add that tomorrow. So yeah, nice new Orchard site. Quite pleased with it. It's very fast.
Feedback on the implementation.
Implementation's been good. The user stuff has been a little challenging, but we've got there in the end. Design-wise, this is all very much based on bag parts. So each of these items, this one is an item in a bag, this one is an item in a bag, the tab arrangement here is a bag with bags for each tab. So they're all editable, and we kind of do a block arrangement where blocks that you can put into the bag parts which fit the kind of approved designs. Same with these banners, they're just an addition to a bag part, so you can put them on every page if you want to, or not, as the case may be. Same with these blocks.
This page, the send just mining district, this is one content item.
This is one content item made up of probably 20 odd bagged content items, or 20 odd blocks.
So this content item is a bag of different kind of items, like sections, like text, like things, or are there 5 different bags of different things?
There's 3 bags. We have a bag for what we call the before body section, which is this area up here.
So they can add stuff there.
So they can add stuff here. And then we have a bag for the body, which is all of this kind of down to about here. Okay. And then we have an after body bag for banners and link blocks to link to other pages here. This will let you scroll through.
And I assume the difficulty here was not to create the bags and to edit the bags, but to talk with the customer about how the page is organized and what is variable in each part of the page. So you can now define, okay, now I need 3 bags or 4 bags, and then each bag will have that.
Yeah, the customer's actually been really great and picked this one up really quickly. They've very quickly. I know it's getting late, but I'll show you a little bit of the back end. I think that the site's got upwards of 300 pages at the moment. So if we were to pick one of the areas that we were just looking at here, you see I render the taxonomies that they're tagged with in these little areas on the admin list.
What is an area? It's a page?
It is a page. So what you end up with is tabs. So they have the tags, obviously, have a maps module where you can place polygons, draw polygons.
Wow.
For the actual area. That's on Nuget if anybody wants it. And then we have a summary part, which just contains all the summary information about the...
Can you click on the map and it adds something directly in the...
Yeah, I won't because we're on the live
site.
Okay,
but that's the
But yeah, you can click here and you can drag these around and...
break it.
Just remind me to click cancel. And then you select the media for kind of all the summary stuff, for what this is when it's in the summary view, all the banner media. And then we get onto the before body block, sorry, the block contents. So this is the centered media block, which can either have a video in it or a picture with a little bit of text. See, dark mode doesn't really work very well with this editor either. Much better.
What is the editor?
This is CK Editor. Use that as a preference because it allows us better styling in here to give some specifics to what the customer needs. So yeah, so you get those blocks there, and then you get the body areas.
And the other question, I saw the left, right, center. These are the tabs of the placement in the admin.
That's correct, yeah. So we use a bit of placement here, and the idea was to give them a little bit of a hint about what the content is looking like. So this one relates to this one here. So you've got left, center, right. Because otherwise you don't know, because there's so many of these. Oh, actually, there's not too many there, but when you get onto some of the other pages, there's maybe 10 of them. And it was all done to fit a design by some designers that we work with. So we choose to use this arrangement rather than using widgets, where you might be able to size them with, you know, the 25 or the 50%, because we need them to fit in specific places, and we can't, in order to keep with the design, which they paid quite a lot of money for. This allows us to just be specific about the design.
If I were to make a site, I will use the same CMS as you. It looks super powerful.
You know, there's nothing you can't do with it, which is what we like. So yeah, when you get into the tab blocks, it's just, you know,
And it works.
and it works.
Like,
And
it
it's
doesn't
quick.
hang. I mean, there is so much data, you know, that I'm afraid that we will hit a limit on the browser number of items or the size of the page.
There are some formal settings that sometimes you have to increase when you do too much of that. But so far, this has been up for a week. It's went up on last Thursday, and it's quick. All the media is hosted in the CDN, because, as I said, they've got a lot of media, and you know, they like to put a lot of banners on the pages. But the pages already load really quickly. Everything is cached, so any of these areas like this, which are list based, the list itself is cached. So once we hit this page, it'll stay in the cache for about 12 hours, just making the pages faster and faster.
So how did you handle that? Why? How?
So mostly for that, I just have a couple of custom list part templates, which use the cache tag helpers. And they just have dependencies on the content items. So as you edit them, they'll clear. So they call a reasonable amount of analysis when we were first working on this a few months ago, and we're down to about probably 2 or 3 SQL queries per page most of the time, like the content item itself, and sometimes the taxonomy.
Okay. Because
so
we don't have output cache yet, and we don't need it.
Because we don't need it. I mean, typically with Orchard 1, we rely on output cache and Redis, which is also great, and keeps these going fast. But instead, we have this, which is just, it's a little bit easier to use, to be honest. But output cache would be nice.
Full CMS or decoupable?
Full CMS. We know Orchard well enough to work with placement and like placement,
okay,
and display management.
I like your admin menu, because it's not obvious that you can do such things when you start with Orchard. But when you show something like that, people are like, yeah, I can do that. What is events, for instance? You make a custom date time part, and then don't show us something that we are not allowed to see, okay?
I don't think there's anything here, but yes. Yes, I mean, this is the admin menus are just made with the admin menus. We just go, oh, here's a content item. What's the link to it? And
I like your edit buttons.
and just add these in as nodes here with a link to the content items, which just keeps it simple for the clients. We've focused quite a lot on this this particular website with trying to get something that, because there is so many pages, that is easy to maintain. So this is the home page, which just has, again, blocks. You can move these all around if you want to reorder it. The link blocks, just use the content pickers so that they can change where the links go easily. And it'll pull all the text and the banner images in from them, which is why we heavily cached that page, because otherwise it would just be making a lot of SQL queries to get at it. they must have added this one in themselves yesterday, so they've obviously they're figuring out how to use it, which is great.
Great. Thank you. Next slide.
Next site looks just the same.
If it works.
Because we used some very similar designers. You might have seen that image from a demo a little while ago.
Yep.
But Cornwall Aerospace, they're an organisation here that helps with funding because Cornwall's quite big in the space industry because it's the right location for it. So very similar site, very similar design. Everything's block-based. Worked quite closely with the designers to get something the client was happy with. And again, they're now able to just edit all of these blocks and shift them around, add new ones in as the site evolves. Not quite as big a site, this one, but not quite as much content, shall we say.
One more, that's good. Great. I saw another site from Steven Spitz, but I can't show you because it just showed me it's not public yet. Super nice. And super fast, lots of media everywhere. It's crazy, so many images to display, but it's hosted in Europe and I'm in West US, and it was still so fast. I was amazed, and no CDN, nothing, just the custom media format, and they didn't have your new token, so I know that they were not using the latest version. But so fast, crazy. Like the change you made on the image shop must have helped a lot because there were so many images to load. I didn't even see them appear, and crazy. So yeah, super fast, like it.
Excellent. Yeah, the change in image sharp has caught us out a little bit because it's too fast now sometimes, and server runs out of memory.
All good.
Yep, all good.
Thank you very much. And also Antoine for the demos. That's great. I think that's it then. Too much, but there is never enough. I share my screen. I will share, but just for nothing. Okay, so that's it. See you not on Thursday. We don't do that. We'll not do that because too close to Christmas. Next week, 29, I'll be there. So there will be a new meeting. We see what has been done during the holidays. I'm not sure we'll do much more. So thanks everyone. See you next week. Have a good day. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye.
Oh, sorry. So Thierry, did you say that you had stuff to do or is left, or we'll see you next week? Ah.